With folder structure covered, while we still are in tour.js, we might as well import here the SAS file that we had. So I'm going to say in the same folder, then we're going to be looking for tour. And then we have, I believe the name was like this, where we had the tour SAS. Let me save the tour.js first. Then we're going to head over back to index.js. And like I said, we're not going to need the package.json, as well as we're not going to need anymore the app.js. Both of them can be closed. And here within the index.js, I would like to import two things. Well, first of all, we already have the tour, so that should be covered, as well as we should be looking for the styling, because later on we are going to obviously make it a little bit better looking. So I'm going to say again, we're going to be looking for the SAS file, and in this case, this is going to be tour list, and then we're going to be saying that the extension is going to be the SAS one. That would be our import. Finally, I would also like to get the data. Remember in the very beginning where we had the setup file, we also had the data, and that data is going to be located in the tour data. And here we're exporting this as a tour data. So that would be our name import. And in our case, what do we have here? Well, we're going to have 4 tours, and each of them are going to have the IDs. Then, as well as we're going to have the city here, image, and name. Now, why the image is so important? Well, because with an image, we're using the relative path. And the reason for this is because right now those images are sitting in a public folder. So the difference would be that if we were using for the logo, remember for the navbar, we use the logo, and then we use the fact that we can just import the images. But that way it worked because those images were in the source folder. However, since the images can be also be in a public folder, we can use the relative path here from our index HTML. Now, as you're looking at your index HTML, where do you see that the images would be? Well, we have index HTML. Then we're going to be looking for the images folder. So here we have the relative path. And then I'm looking for the image of, let's say, New York. Now, that obviously is going to be image that I have. So that would be your second option. So let's say if you don't want to deal with imports within your source, you can just have your images folder in your public. But then as you're referencing here, as we're going to be setting up the images tags, we're going to have to use this one for the source. Now, obviously, we were going to use it as already a prop because this is going to go through our tour list and all that. And eventually, we're just going to set it up as a prop. At the moment I do that, I'm going to show you again this thing. But since I would kind of hammer it home, this is the reason why I'm showing you this twice. So this would be the second option, how we can work within images. Now, in order to do that, I'm just going to close the tour data. We don't need it. However, since we do need to use the actual named import, I'm going to say import. Now we're going to be looking for tour data. And this is going to be from where? Well, we have an option of ... So now we're going to leave the actual folder. However, we're not done yet because the tour data is not going to be sitting neither in navbar nor tour, nor any of the components. So again, we're going to leave another folder, and now we're going to be getting the tour data. Again, this is JavaScript file, so we don't need the file extension. And now we can set up our state. And the way we're going to do that, I'm going to say, okay, so there's going to be a state as always. Then we're going to be setting up state as an object. And here we're going to say that there is going to be a key, and that key is going to have the value of, you guessed it, our tour data. Okay, so far so good. We can also do it. You know what? Let me close the sidebar because we're not going to need anything else right now. And this way, this is going to give us a little bit more space. And why don't we console log it right away, just so we can see that everything is working. So I'm going to say console log, and we're going to be looking for this dot. So we're looking for the state. And then we're looking more specifically to the tours. And the moment we're going to inspect and see in the console if everything is correct, we should be getting our array. So we successfully have our data. Again, we could have set this up technically, our tour data here in the state, because it is obviously possible. It's just a basic array. However, I'm just showing you that eventually, again, we're going to be getting our data from some external APIs, from some, let's say, contentful headless CMSs. And the difference is going to be that we're not going to be setting everything up in a state, because this can become very exhausting if you have hundreds and hundreds, let's say, items. And in this case, this saves you time where you can set up the state. You have your key value pair, and this is just going to be imported from somewhere externally. And then we can start working with these values. Now, I right away would also like to set up a method that we're going to use later on. So for now, we're just going to console logging this. So I'm going to say remove tour. And what I'm setting up right now is these X's. So basically functionality behind this. The moment we're going to click on it, we're going to remove the tour. And since I don't want to like swing back and forth. Okay. So now I'm showing you the actual tour component, and then we're going to swing back to tour list. I'm right away going to set up here my method. So I'm going to say, okay, so this is going to be my method. We will going to be accepting the ID. And then for now, again, we're just going to console log it. The moment we're going to have to set up the functionality, again, we're going to jump a little bit back and forth. But I just find it easier if we do at least the structure for our logic first. Okay, what else I would like to do? Well, I would like to destructure a little bit the tours. Since within the render, I'm not just going to console log it. And you know what? For your reference, I will going to leave it. So I'm just gonna comment this out, but I'm gonna say I would like to destructure it. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna be looking for the tours, and this is gonna be equal into state. And that's gonna be my tours. And then here I can just get rid of the hello from tour list as well a tour. And now it says, see, you have the variable, but you didn't use it. And you know what? We might as well close the console. I don't think we'll need it. And here we're gonna do the similar thing that we have already done plenty of times. And we're gonna set up first of all some kind of section. So this is not going to be just a simple div, and we might as well add the class name. Now the class name is going to be tour list, and we're going to style it later on. And then let's add the ending for the section. And then within the section, let's set up again our JavaScript. So again, we need to have the curly braces, and the logic would be very simple. So we have our tour, the component that we created, which at the moment just has hello from tour. And I would like to loop through my array, and each and every time I'm going to be getting the item, I would like to return the information from the item wrapped in the tour. So we're going to say tour or tours, which is obviously right now something we already have destructured. Then we're going to use the map method since this is an array. And then we have here the callback function that we're going to be passing for each and every item in the tour. Now within this callback function, we're going to right away set it up as a arrow function. I'm going to say, well, what I would want from each and every tour. Well, I would like to return the JSX. What is going to be my JSX? Well, that is going to be my tour. And then what is going to be within tour? Well, first of all, we have the key, which is obviously we always need to use it. So each and every tour has the ID. And you know what? Maybe I will going to open up the tour data where I had it, just so you can see where we're getting information. Otherwise, you're going to think, well, he's just getting this from the thin air, and you also see that we have the ID. So this is what we're pulling from each and every item that we have right now in the array. Then I also would like to grab the whole information about the tour, because again, this whole item is being referenced as a tour right now. That is my parameter that I have passed it here, or argument. And then this is going to be assigned to a actual prop, which is going to be tour, and we're going to set this equal to the whole information. So this guy is going to get everything. It's going to get the ID, the city, the everything that we have right now in the tour. As well as I would like to pass last the remove tour prop, remove tour, and that prop in this case is going to be equal to our method. Remember the one that we created in the beginning, remove tour. So now let's write this dot, and we'll like to have the remove tour. That's going to be our setup. Okay. So that would be enough for the logic. Again, we haven't covered yet the remove tour. So why don't we also set up right away the SAS, because this is just going to be very short. So there's no point for separate video. Let me open up the sidebar, and I'm going to be looking for the SAS one. And here we're just going to add a little bit of width, as well as the max width and a little bit of margin. And then we're going to have some paddings. So let's say for the tour list class, remember the class that we had it. And I don't think there's a point of closing the sidebar right now because, I mean, again, this is going to be literally a few lines of code. And we're going to say 70 view widths. Now, what I'm saying here is that tour list component, so the component that holds all the tours, is going to have the width of 70 view widths. Notice this is what we have. So we're not taking up the whole screen, but we're taking 70 view widths, which would be 70% of each and every screen. So as the screen size is going to be changing, it's always still going to be 70%. However, I also would like to set up the max width. So even though let's say you get to a bigger screen size, 70 view widths would be bigger. I would want to say, you know what, whatever screen size you have, don't go beyond the 1170 pixels. That's going to be my max. I also would like to include it in the center. So I'm going to say, let's say margin is going to be 0, and that will be top bottom. If you want to add some top bottom margin, obviously you would write something here, but I'm just going to say top bottom is going to be 0. However, the moment I save it, you can see that this is going to be in the center because now we have some kind of width, and then this would be in the center. Maybe to make it a little bit easier, we can just do background red. We're obviously not going to keep it, but this is going to be our TourList right now. And again, let me delete this. This was just to show you that everything is working fine. And then let's add a little bit of padding of, let's say, top bottom is going to be 2 REMs, as well as we're going to have, I don't know, 0 maybe on left and right. And this is how this TourList is going to look like. So now I can close the sidebar. We can head over maybe to our city tours. At the moment, maybe it doesn't look as good as it should eventually, but nevertheless, we're going to get there. And I'm really happy that we covered both the logic that we're going to be getting as well as the actual styling.